Okay, for those that don't know, Sue Hammond had her knee surgery yesterday. She is back home, and she texted me this afternoon and started physical therapy today at home. So she's on the mend, but won't be in body with us for a couple of weeks. So I'm Larry Lambert filling in this evening. Nate Kingsley is here to give our own vocation. Thank you, Nate.
Thank you. Thank you, Council, for what you do. Appreciate it. Father, thank you too for the privilege to live where we do, and like this town and the people of this town. Thank you for government to keep order and provide for us. And thank you for those who've taken the mantle to do this. Give them grace during their tenure to make decisions, handle disagreements, pay the bills, do the things that need to be done, Lord, as we can have a community. It's just good to see the ball playing and the things going on, Lord, here in our town. So we thank you for that. Give them grace for their decisions tonight, Lord. In Jesus' name I ask. Amen.
Amen. It is now 7 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shirley, if you take roll call, please.
Mayor Hammond, Larry Lambert,
Here.
Mike Connell, Bob Porter,
Here.
Mindy Galvey, here, Kamal Ghazi,
Here.
Kristen Bagel.
Here.
Okay. Mayor Hammond and Mike are absent tonight.
I think Mike is off at a track meet with his son. Looking for approval of the agenda. There has been one late addition to the agenda since it was originally distributed, and that is that the extra item that we've added is to discuss the potential land sale of property that we talked about before down on South M52. So
I move that we accept the agenda as printed, amended.
I second.
we have Bob motion to approve the agenda, Kamal seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you. I'm looking for reading and approval of the council minutes from our May 1st, 2025 meeting.
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the readings, and approve the minutes from May 1st, 2025, regular meeting.
Second.
Motion by Kamal, seconded by Bob to approve the May 1st, 2025 minutes. All in favor, please so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. We have a couple of pre-approved reports. We do have one addition that we'll get to, but first off, we'll start off with John and Roy Liskey to give us an update.
Thank you. I just wanted to kind of, I promised every month to come and give you an update. We're getting close. We've got our final electric approval this week, and then we can get the final building inspector approval probably the following week or maybe even next week, I'm not sure. But the process is still lengthy because once we get that, then we can submit all the paperwork to the state. Now the state cannabis agency has not been real busy opening stores like they were a few years ago. So I'm hoping it won't take them more than a couple of weeks to come out and do the inspection on all the camera locations. We have over 20, how many?
About 30.
About 30 camera locations. So, Roy's working on that this weekend. And so they have to do that. The State Bureau of Fire Services needs to come out. And so those are the main things. And then once we get those approvals, they send us the license and we can stock the store. We can't stock it with anything until that. And then give us probably another week to get things organized and the POS systems working. And so, I mean, I'd love to be open, Roy would love to be open by July 1st. That's our goal, so what, 6 weeks from now? But it's out of our control because we don't know how long the state's gonna take. By statute, they have up to 90 days, and that would just kill us. So but they haven't been, in my opinion, that busy because there are more stores closing now than there are open. So that's pretty much it. I think many of you have probably noticed that we got all the bushes removed, and what a difference that has made in terms of the safety of pulling out of our lot or pulling out of Britain onto Main Street. The main doors to our store were just installed yesterday, and we're making progress. Just have to be patient.
Any questions for John or Roy? What's coming along?
It's coming along.
I missed seeing the doors when I went by, I was probably watching traffic, but it's, yeah, because I wondered when you were gonna have, because you're having an entrance that's close to the drive-through, well, was the drive-through portion correct?
Yes, that's our store. 1/3 of the building is us. In terms of, many people say, well, what else is gonna go in there? And we haven't had time to really focus on it. It's still kind of, it's a construction scene, and it's not real marketable. But it's interesting, I hadn't thought of this, but just talking to some, I think, future customers at Cafe Sports who have connected us with this project has asked for a fitness center. You have to drive all the way to Planet Fitness in Okemos or out to Owasso, and so we hadn't thought about that. So we're gonna do some outreach specifically to see if we can, if there's any interest in a fitness center.
That'd be great, because I've had just a couple of passing comments to that effect made that I just hadn't thought to pass on to you. So
Yeah, I was surprised it came out of blue, but, so I know I could use one.
The city did have one for a short period of time, and then I think there was a small, can't think of the name of the company, the place that was there that, along Main Street was there for a short time. Curves.
Oh, Chris.
Curves
Okay.
was there, and then there was.
I want
a-
curbs.
You want what?
Curbs.
Okay, that'd be great. Anything else for John or Roy?
What is it called?
Our business?
Yes.
Local Roots Cannabis.
Local Roots.
The corporate entity, the license is 120 West LLC, DBA as Local Roots Cannabis. And that's Roy and his mom, and then my corporate entity that, because I had to rent the whole building in order to subdivide, is called Perry M52 LLC. And that's where Shirley sends the water bills and so forth to me there.
Better you than
Thank
me.
you.
Nothing else. Thanks for the update.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a great evening. And Carolyn Wilson has asked for a few minutes to speak with us this evening.
Thank you. For those that have not met me, my name is Caroline Wilson. I am your county clerk, so it's nice for the new members to see you face to face. I come out biannually because even years, when I say even years, 24, 26, 28, those are usually very big years and a lot more going on than the odd years. So I come out and give a little report of what the year looked like, how the office is doing. And usually I pass out a county directory. So I want you to know that the county directory now is gone digital. It is online. The most current, up-to-date directory will always be on the county website. And it's an example of, I just sent out my final revision and had everything done, and then someone passed away. So that's the way this directory works. So I have sent it to all the local municipalities, schools, anyone I could think of, the county. And so you can definitely see it and print it off if you want it in a booklet form from the county website. It's a great resource, takes a lot of work. The Independent used to generate this for the county every other year. They would solicit businesses to get the advertisement, and then it was at no cost. So when they went out of business, we are the ones that compile, the clerk's office compiles all the information. So I reached out to see who had an interest for it, because I know our office, because of the elections and the information that goes in here, you should see by the time we're done with this what it looks like after a year. So we had some interest in the county, but I couldn't get support for getting it in this kind of format. And a lot of counties have gone to digital. So here we are. This is what it looks like if you print it off, and it's a great resource. The other thing I would like to bring to your attention is the Secretary of State office was at the county courthouse this past week to help people get their real ID or do business for updating their licenses. They're going on the road for different counties because that deadline was May 7th. It's the Gold Star. And they're going to continue doing this periodically. So they've talked about doing it in our county again in September because it was such a success. And that is because people need copies of divorces, copies of birth records, marriage licenses, and so why not set up right in the courthouse and then they're right there. So they are on the road and they plan on coming back to our office sometime by the end of the year. And then lastly, do I have a time limit? I mean, I don't want to take all your time. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about the elections and the early voting. Don't know what you are familiar with, but the county went into an agreement with all the local municipalities for the 9-day early voting that is mandated now. It's here to stay. And so we have 20 jurisdictions that participate. City of Owasso is the only one that has done their own early voting site. That location for the county is at the Veterans Building in the back, and it's been a great, it was a great year. Last year, 24, was the first implementation of early voting, and so the state was offering a lot of money. And I took advantage of everything I possibly could. We were able to get all the equipment paid for, which was almost $100,000, which is a lot, because the locals, they would have had to have gotten their own equipment specifically for early voting. They couldn't use what they use for election day. So you think about that, 20, I have 5 tabulators. And so did anyone take advantage of early voting this past year? Okay, well now you know about it. And so in 2026, I expect to hopefully see you come and try it out, because we had such a great response to it. Now, February was slow. Presidential primary, we only had 323 voters for the entire 9 days. We thought, all right, it's new. Okay. August, we had 326 voters. We're like, okay, people aren't necessarily in favor of this. Well, November was a whole different ballgame. By the time we even opened up the door, there was a line around the building, and we had 5,566 voters for the general election for the 9 days. Our last day was 969. I was ready to go solicit, I wanted to hit that 1,000 mark. But you know, when you put that in perspective, almost 1,000 people. We opened early, and then of course, if they're in line, you get to go through, but by the time day 4 came, we set some things up differently, and we were able to have voters in and out within 15 to 20 minutes. So it was a great success. But the benefit of doing the one site for the county was to save the money. And so I got as much grants as I could to establish it, and then what it took to get it up and running. So you don't really learn until you go through a couple of elections. However, I just want you to understand, for the February election, it cost the county to run, do everything for the county, $102,730. And so that was 100% reimbursed from the state because they're the ones that call that election. But when we did the early voting, that grand total was $8,795. Pretty much what that money is the election worker wages. And we did pay people a little bit more. We paid them $20 an hour because we needed to make it lucrative. Think about this, 9 days, 2 weekends, that's 6 weekends in 2024. Someone's taking a week. I mean, it's, you know, it's a lot when you're in it. You're kind of like, whoa, because you only get 1 day between, 2 days between the big day, the big election day. So this is pretty much wages, and so we got reimbursed for some of that, and we then had leftovers of $3,357, but divided by 20, the local jurisdictions, they received an invoice from the county for $167.88. That was for us to pay the workers to run the early voting. It would have run on average anywhere from 5,000 or more for each jurisdiction to open up for every single election. That's with the minimum of workers. And so in August, the locals were charged $161.74. And even in November, when I had to hire 11 people, including myself, I did not get paid. We charged back $231.83. That's pretty good for the local municipalities. Now, we don't know what the state is going to do. The big question is, I have about $100,000 left over from the initial grant money, asking, what are you going to do? Can we get that back in 2026? And they said they're assessing all those leftover funds to see what they're going to do. So I'm trying to compile something for the municipalities that down the road I can say, well, here's what we could potentially look at. It will be more, but it still, all in all, saves the taxpayers tons of money to have one site. So it was a great year. It's a blur. I'm still recovering. And I encourage you to come along and take advantage of it in 2026. Our office is just always busy. So other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions for Caroline? No, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Shirley, I'll see you next
Thank
week.
you.
Next week.
Well, they possibly linking, put a link on our website, link directory.
Oh, yes.
Anyone here for public comment this evening? Yes, if you come forward and state your name, please.
Hello, Gregory Broder. I'm Chair of the County Commission. By the way, Caroline, best county clerk in the state and the hardest working. I should have wanted to praise her. We'd have crashed and burned without her. I'm here tonight not to, get involved in any of your political stuff. I definitely stay out of that, but more because, well, for one thing, I've been remiss. I should try to make the township and city meetings more as the chair, but also because one of my commissioners has caused some controversy and has been saying some things that I disagree with strongly and some facts that I would disagree with. I won't go into them, but making sure if anyone has any questions about anything going on at the county, whether it's some of the things that he's stirring up or others, I am available now or after the meeting, or of course my phone number is listed on the website. I'm always available for anything that you need or like to discuss, because I definitely like to work together, us local units to work together. It's a great thing. That's all.
Any comments or questions from anyone right this evening? Thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
Anyone else here for public comment?
I am that commissioner that Chairman Greg Rodur keeps referring to in his letters to the editors and what have you. There's an issue of the towing bid that's gonna really affect our county dramatically. We had this issue just a few years ago when Sheriff Gold tried to do the same thing. If people don't wake up, we're gonna lose a lot of businesses. Because most of these towing companies rely on the rotation that we've had for years. And if one company gets the bid, a lot of these businesses are gonna go away. They're not gonna be able to stay in their seat. They'll have to either find another location or just disintegrate completely. And my other issue is I've had so many calls on the asphalt plant, whether there's an environmental study. I have no idea. Can't get any answers. What's gonna happen to the community and the neighbors especially that have to put up with that smell day in and day out, and the hazardous particulate that comes off of it? Do we need to be another Flint for people to wake up? I mean, putting phosphate in the water, that has detrimental effects to people's kidneys and liver. No studies were done on that. Nobody was even notified. I'll be available too. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we have questions, do we wait until we're finished and speak to them after the meeting?
If
or-
you got a quick question, go ahead, Mindy, if it's anything that's gonna be other than a
I
simple
don't know
answer.
how quick it is. I just wondered from Mr. Brooklyn, what the controversy is, anything that was said here?
Yes.
Is that contradicting?
Yes, the towing, we talked about the towing. The sheriff is doing something that a lot of sheriffs around the state do, and looking for a single contractor for the towing service. A total of 200 and some tows a year in general. The rotation isn't working out for him. He's an elected official on his own. I tend to support him. There are definite problems with the rotation system. We only have 2 people manning our 911. And when you make phone calls because you need a tow and somebody doesn't answer, so you call somebody else and then the other person calls back and then they're saying, it's a mess. It hasn't worked out. The sheriff is looking to make the system smoother, to guarantee a price, to guarantee that someone will show up on a cold, snowy winter night on I-69 with proper equipment. Again, I'm not the one making the contract. We approve it, but the sheriff makes a good argument. That will be discussed next week in our committee meeting and on our Wednesday formal meeting when we approve these things. The asphalt plant that the commissioner is referring to, I'm sure you know more about it than I do because it's in your area. It's in an area zoned for that. We know we need economic development. We have to have it. Yes, people live nearby. They live in an area where there's light industrial. There was no changes in the zoning for this and so on. And the county's $50 million in debt on a $20 million general fund budget. We need development. People don't sometimes, I think, realize how many small industrial facilities have left this county in the last 30, 40 years. We're on the edge, folks. Now, we've pulled back a bit the last 4 or 5 years. We're not, we don't bankruptcy is not imminent. But remember, the county has only 2 optional services. One is the road patrol, and one is parks. If we run out of money, one of those has got to go. Nobody wants that. I certainly don't. So I'm very, very pro-development. Obviously, at the local level, honestly, you do your own zoning for the city, correct?
We do for the
And
city.
I think this is out in the township.
Township.
But I'm trying to remember whether the township, no, I think we do the zoning.
I believe you do, I'm not sure.
We always encourage the townships to take their zoning back. We only do it by default. So, yeah, there are a handful of townships that do their own and some that we do. So, I would say that we all know that Eagle and various things, they are very, very stringent regarding environmental things. And this is an area zone for it, so I tend to support that.
So I'm not familiar with controversy on that. Is it the neighbors don't want it? And
At the planning commission, one neighbor spoke against it. They were concerned, which I would be as well, but it does kind of remind me of people who move into an agriculture area and then complain about the tractors at 6 in the morning and the smell of the manure. I'm sorry you moved into an agriculture area. I live in the city of Owasso, and it would be silly for me to complain about city things. I have neighbors. Well, if I didn't want neighbors, why did I move into the city? There are trade-offs wherever you live, and I understand their concern, but again, the Planning Commission has approved it. It will be up, I believe, on this month's agenda for the county. So it will be discussed further.
Yeah, just to clarify and reiterate, it is a township, county issue.
Yes.
It's not inside the city of Perry.
Correct.
So our city planning commission and this council really had no jurisdiction over the actions that have been taken. Interest, yes, but
Yes.
direct involvement, not.
Doesn't mean we don't all have a little bit of say, and I definitely want, if there are any opportunities for us to work together for development. We've got our land bank and so on, which is doing great. So,
So for the towing, I am somewhat familiar with the issue. And that's the first I've heard that companies were not stepping up when called.
well, again,
I-
I'm telling you this secondhand. This is not the county commission, although we have the final approval, simply because the sheriff, it's in his ballpark, he's the elected official, and this is his explanation to me, that there's been a great deal of difficulty. The city of Owasso, I know, went through the same thing and ended up contracting out their towing. That doesn't mean everybody has to tow the company, it's optional. You say, do you have someone you prefer? If not, then we call the contracted one, and you know how much it's gonna cost, and you know they're gonna have truck, and you know they're gonna answer the phone. So again,
And I
I'm
know
speaking
some
for
of
the
these-
sheriff, so I hope I don't get any of this wrong.
I know some of these people, and the ones I know are very eager for the business.
Well, I know
So,
a request for proposal was
Is that
put up.
public information from the sheriff that?
Yes, there was a
on
request for
who-
proposal.
Who is not?
The sheriff will be presenting that at the finance committee on Monday. And he will explain his request for proposal, and I assume he will explain how he went through it and so on. Again, not my thing, just letting you know that there have been trade-offs to whether or not to go with a single towing contract, and I tend to, just like I said, I don't want to ever interfere with your business here as a county person. I tend to give the sheriff quite a bit of leeway on how he runs his department. We just do budgeting at the county level and technically approve contracts.
I think we're going to take this discussion offline.
Yes, I think so. We're taking up a lot of your time, and I apologize.
That's okay, that's okay. I entertain questions and discussion, but we probably at this point need to take it offline if we need the sheriff for more detail for anybody who wants to get more deeply involved.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on then to Shirley, any communications this evening?
Okay, so this weekend is yard sales, tomorrow through Sunday. There is a list at the back of the room, and we'll also have a list on our website, Facebook, and at the front desk. So that's all ready to go. Starting May 19th through the 23rd, we'll have our cleanup week dumpster up at the City Hall. So you will be able to bring your items up there between 7:30 and 3:30, Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday will be 7:30 to 7 p.m. So 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. We have flyers, same places for you to see that. You may have to show your ID when you're bringing items to the dumpster. So just be prepared for that. It is for the City of Perry residents only. The next thing that will be happening is the Memorial Day Parade hosted in the City of Perry, organized by the VFW. So you can contact the Perry VFW if you have anything that you would like to put in the parade. We're getting close to the June 14th Historical Society Summer Market. Same thing, flyers there. it looks like that we have 2 more dates for recycling for this Langsburg Recyclers. Tuesday, May 20th from 4 to 6, and Saturday, May 24th, I'm sorry, from 9 to 1. I handed all this stuff out to you guys last time. And then way ahead, we don't want to rush the months, but Summer Fun Night, July 16th from 6 to 8 at City Hall.
Mark your calendars.
Yep, mark your calendars for that. And that's it.
Okay. A couple things, just on behalf of Mayor Sue. I think I mentioned to those folks that were here that Sue did have her knee surgery yesterday. Got back home yesterday afternoon and started her physical therapy at home today, and so she is on the road to recovery, but is confined to no steps for at least the next 2 weeks. So she will be engaged in the activity, but I'm, like I mentioned earlier, filling in for her currently. The other thing is, it looks like the pavilion is
Oh, yeah.
is completed.
It's just about there. There's just a couple more things, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when I saw the stonework go up and the fence come down and the grass, seed and straw, it looks like it's
Yeah,
it's
it's getting
about-
there. We have just a couple little things, so, but it's not going to prevent anybody from using it. So
Yeah.
it is like technically open.
On behalf of Sue and the rest of us, I'd like to express a note of gratitude to Shirley, and I thought Megan might be here, but to Shirley and Megan for co-chairing and spearheading that pavilion activity. And it's been a ton of work. It's taken a little while, but the place looks great. And I think it'll get lots of activity. So
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
wish Megan, when we see her,
I will.
great appreciation as well. So job well done.
Thank you.
Nothing else to report on behalf of Sue this evening. Any committee reports tonight? Okay, looking for review and approval of the bills.
I move that we approve the bills as presented and authorize payment.
I second.
We have a motion by Kamal and seconded by Kristen to approve the bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I don't think we have any old business this evening, so moving into our first piece of new business, it's time to talk about our health insurance plan and possible renewal of approval for the city employees. Shirley, I'm going to ask for you to
Okay.
help walk us through that.
So I did email you a copy of the email that I received from Micah, our agent. A small packet, the group package, it just sends it every year in writing that's about impossible to read because it's so small. But, so it looks like that our medical, dental, and vision plans are going up 13.77%. On what he told me earlier this spring when we started to work on the budget, Megan figured in a 15% because that's what he said it could go up to 15%. So we've already figured in that 15% in the budget that was approved last week, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So there's still options, and it's just spelled, I don't know if you guys want me to go through all the options, or do you have your spreadsheet? Because that's where the options are. So, so as it stands right now, if you look under the current, the current is what we are paying right now. The total premium is like a real big scary number. I like to work more with just like what we're doing per month, but the total number is down there in the total annual premium. That is for, let me just make sure that I have this correct. Hold on 1 second. Tried to make note notes that I can't remember what I wrote down, so. Okay, so the total annual premium is just for the health insurance. It's almost at the very bottom, just the health insurance. Vision and dental are down at the bottom. You can see, or underneath that, you can see that there's just a minimal increase on the vision, like less than $1, and $25 maybe, just a little over $25 for the vision per month per premium. So we have already figured in to renew this exact same plan.
Yeah.
I guess it's up to you guys if you want to discuss the rest of the plans. There is a plan called HAP.
It's terrible. It is,
Yeah.
it really is not.
So our agent really likes HAP, but it's more geared toward, I think, that side of the state.
Yeah.
He said we could most definitely look into it, but we would have, all of the employees would have to make sure doctors accept it, or we would change doctors if we took that kind of plan. So, and the options, I don't feel like the increase is, I don't feel like the savings is enough to warrant changing a plan, I guess, even with the option 3 or option 4. But like I said, that's up to you guys for discussion. It's just deductibles, co-pays, that sort of thing. That's what it's changing.
If we didn't have the potential disruption to every employee's family and things by looking at a move to something like HAP, we'd be going into an unknown, not having any idea. I'm not familiar personally with that coverage, but it sounds like it's not as accepted in this area as obviously Blue Cross is.
Yeah, the issue is you're gonna be asking most of the employees to go 1 hour to 2 hours away to seek care for anything basic. They are contracted, like their contract is through Henry Ford Health System. It's just, there's a lot of restrictions that we'd be putting on our people that work for us. I don't know if that's, we're paying either way. Why don't we just keep BCN? I think BCN is a much better option.
What did the employees feel about raising their deductible?
I didn't ask anybody. So I guess,
I wasn't here last meeting, I was
Yeah.
sure that you know what. And I know I've said this before, that we pay it one way or another. But if we can reduce, because right now, there was a deficit budget passed. If we can save some money, even a little bit, it would help, so. And I don't know if, the option 2, going up to 4,000, the deductible is reasonable, but I think we should have a discussion about raising that deductible a little bit to save some money. It's not, the second one's not much at all, $1,000. $172,900 to $171,800. It's nothing. So I think it's, again, we're gonna pay for it sooner or later. It's really hard pill to swallow, $173,000 a year for health insurance. And we all pay it. It comes out of my check every week.
so that would be a cost savings of $44,204.68 per month.
Yes.
4,000 or 40?
It'd be $50,456.16 per year.
Hey, but then I'm also concerned because we are not able to give great raises every year. So
No,
the benefits
neither do
can
the
help make
industry.
up for that.
So where is the deductible at right now? Sorry, I didn't.
But it says $1,000 is what they're, 1,002.
Yeah.
1,000 for individual, 2,000 for
This
family.
is our current plan right here, and this is the current, or this is the renewal plan. It's exactly the same, it's just the renewal of the same.
Personally,
Look at the the third row down says annual out-of-pocket max.
Yes.
That's a better comparison.
Oh, yeah.
So, because it's kind of a little bit of a smoke and mirrors when you look at the other ones,
Mhm.
right? Because you still have that copay and all that stuff, so if you look at that, whatever, the third paragraph basically down, right now it's 16.3.
I see what you're
maximum.
saying now, yes.
And then if you went to that option 2, so you're increasing it, not quite doubling, yeah, you're doubling the family deductible, your out-of-pocket would go up by 20 or $1,800,
Yeah.
$1,900. So
But they're really only
Right, but-
adjusting the,
you're paying more, getting less,
Less, yeah.
and you're only saving out of pocket
The city, the
$1,900.
city would save $350.39
Correct.
a month to change that, to that plan.
Correct, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have to look at all the numbers.
Right.
I'd love to save anything we can,
Mhm.
because I really didn't like the budget at all. I just worry about where, you know,
if you look at.
revenue sharing and all this stuff, where it's all going and going to, and what do we really have to spend? That's all.
If you look at the big picture, if I'm reading this correctly, over the renewal amount, if we were to renew it as the increases, with leaving the deductibles the same as the employees currently have versus going to a $2,000 individual deductible, we'd save the city roughly $4,000 a year,
But
which.
that's- Right, not a lot, but it is a little bit.
Is it?
It's a little bit, but are the people working in the city able to afford this amount? I think that's what my angle is. Like, sure, your deductible will go from $1,000, but is everyone able to pay those $2,000? That's my angle.
Again, like I said, I've said it before, last year I said this, we're gonna pay it, and maybe it was 2 years ago. We pay it one way or another, so we either pay their health insurance and have the wages that we have, or we increase the wages and not pay the health insurance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
You have, how can you not give health insurance? It's just a hard pill to swallow, that's all. My only point is I'd like to save something, but is it really anything we're saving? I guess I talked around in a circle.
Well, just remember that Megan had already figured in 15%, so that
Correct.
was passed in the budget, that is budgeted. And we have a great treasurer who makes us a very nice amount of money in interest or investment.
She does a wonderful
So,
job. It doesn't
I don't know
negate
how
the
that-
fact that we have a negative budget.
I don't know how that plays out because that's not my deal, but
Right.
you guys have heard her come here and say how much money she has made, so,
I'm all for saving as much money for the city as possible, but I'm not sure, my own perspective, that saving the city $4,000 to pass on a doubling of deductible, if you will, to the employees is the place we want to.
Right, at what cost are we saving
At what,
$4,000?
exactly, exactly.
That 100%.
Anyone else have any comments? Looking for either further discussion or anyone would like to make a motion in terms of how we move forward with our health insurance coverage.
I move that we approve Blue Care Network Healthcare Plan 2025, Blue Care Network, BCN Gold Option 2 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and authorize the clerk to sign the name on behalf of the city.
I second.
We have a motion from Mindy, seconded by Kamal. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, all good discussion. Okay, moving on to the next item of business, deals with a potential to put a police car, older police car up for auction, now that the replacement is available and active.
Yep.
Kyle's not here, but anything to add, Shirley?
He asked if he needed to be here for it, and I said, no, so, yeah, just same thing, kind of like what Kevin did with the Vector truck, just going to shoot
Right.
an auction, so.
I move that we approve the sale of the 2016 Ford Explorer at auction. Police Chief Kyle Box, I hope I'm not messing it, is authorized to send a vehicle to Sheridan Auction Yard and move forward with the necessary details to accomplish the sale.
Second.
Have a motion from Kamal, seconded by Bob. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the next item we have, I believe, is to talk about the service line warranty and a possible extension of that contract. If you recall, I believe that we had some discussion in here, maybe before some of the members were on the council, but we did previously approve an independent company, if I have this correct, to come in and solicit all of our residents to see whether or not they were interested in any kind of insurance for water and sewer lines, I believe, that went from city's responsibility, became homeowners' responsibility, and we did in fact, as a city, approve them to, we had no direct involvement, but we did authorize them to make contact with our residents. I think that's just a matter of deciding whether we want to extend the contract in the terms that we currently have, correct, Shirley?
Right, so yeah, it just was good for 3 years, automatically renewing, it's a renewing term for every year. The mayor just wanted to have you guys decide if you wanted to keep renewing it. I did give the statistics that they sent us. This was last month, so who knows, more people may have signed up, but we have 95 total plans, total plans, so 7 claims, 47 customers covered. I'm not really quite sure what they mean by that, but so we have 5.85% of homeowners enrolled, and they've saved on the claims $19,597. So I don't know the details if somebody has a problem, if they if they have to pay and they get reimbursed, or if the company doing the work submits the invoice to them. I'm not really sure how that works.
Do we pay for that service?
They actually pay us.
Oh.
We get like a quarterly, like maybe like a dividend type check or something.
It's a very small.
Yeah, like,
yeah,
I think the last one was like $400, so.
The big thing is they got a service they're willing to provide to the residents of the city. There's no obligation on the part of the residents. It's strictly a matter of us approving them to be able to continue to make contact with those residents and any new residents that come into the community.
Yeah, we did make some changes to the paperwork that they send out, because they had our logo on it, and people would call us and say, you're sending us this information. And when this started, I was out for 2 weeks, and when I came back, I kept getting calls, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And we're not doing it, it's a scam or whatever. But then I quickly learned it wasn't, and we had them take our logo off of the envelope and also off of the letter at the top, and then we just changed some words in it so people knew it was for homeowners for the city of Perry. So, and they did that, and so then we're here.
Any other comments, questions?
As far as what you might hear in the office, is the public satisfied with?
Well, I had somebody call last week, I think it was, for their number because she was having a problem. So she didn't call back and tell me, they never call back and tell you if everything went okay. She asked, how does it work? I said, I don't know, call the number. So she never called back, so I'm assuming they took care of it. They probably send you a claim form or something, email or something like that. It's hard to say.
Maybe the quarterly dividend will make up for those $4,000.
They won't.
Okay. I move that we approve the extension of the marketing agreement that was signed by Mayor Sue Hammond on August 9, 2021 for an additional year expiring August 9, 2026. Future contracts will renew on a yearly basis until city council takes action to cancel. We give the mayor approval to renew this annually as a rollover contract. The clerk will report annually regarding the renewal.
Second.
Have a motion by Kamal, seconded by Bob. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, third quarter budget amendments. I think we all got some information from Megan,
Yeah.
and it looked to be pretty straightforward, and I'm not sure that we have any recommended amendments at this time. It was kind of a heads up that here's some more things we may have to do before we end the budget year, but nothing that she was forecasting right now that we needed to take action on, correct?
We don't do anything, we don't have to do
No,
anything.
you don't have to do anything, no, it's just information.
Information at this point in time.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, we may have some, as she ends the budget year in the next quarter. Okay, moving on. Just to look at our upcoming council meeting schedule, and it turns out that we have currently on the books, since it's the first and third Thursday, we currently have calendared a council meeting for July the 3rd, which is obviously the day before the 4th. And I think the discussion becomes, do we want to go ahead and hold that meeting, or do we want to go on record and cancel it, recognizing that Mayor Sue has the authority to be able to pay bills and the emergency things that may come up, but if we didn't have a regularly scheduled council meeting. So this is a point of discussion right now that we just need to decide whether we'd have a quorum here if we did go ahead with a meeting, or if people have got out-of-town travel plans.
I'm indifferent, I think I have to work that day anyway. So what's the difference?
I can do it, or I would not have a problem not doing it. If it-
I'll be here. I'm not going to.
It's the same thing, but do we really, like, is there gonna be anything new that would happen that would really require
Don't know.
attention?
My crystal ball's broken.
Yeah.
No magic 8-ball?
You guys can decide that.
Yeah, we don't have, we can say no to action.
Yeah.
We could table it,
Yeah.
yeah. If we
Okay.
table it, then
Yeah,
we-
that's totally,
Well,
yeah, totally
we'll-
fine.
We've got a little time, be thinking about it, and we'll may have in 2 weeks, may have a better idea where there's some issues that we see on the horizon that would necessitate the need for us to meet. I just think that by the next meeting, we'll have to make certain we make a decision.
Okay.
We'll just table it.
Yes.
I move that we table the Thursday conversation.
Second.
City council.
Second.
Kamal has motioned and Bob seconded that we table the potential cancellation of the July 3rd council meeting until potentially next meeting for discussion. Okay, now moving on to the next and new agenda item, which is discussion of the sale of, potential sale of property in M52 that we previously talked about.
Right.
Can you help us?
Again?
Yes, please.
I received a call on Tuesday morning, wanting to place an offer on the property. I told him it had to be in writing, and if you could email me something. I did email you the email, or I printed out the email for you guys. It's in the packet that I handed out to you, sorry. Okay, and it's from Mr. Bradley. He's been to the council meeting, Harry Bradley's brother, and so he is offering $4,000 for the property.
What did we have a list set for sale for? I don't remember.
7,500, 7,000?
We talked
7,000,
about-
I think.
7,000, we said that we would certainly entertain any offer that might come
Correct.
along.
It's been up for a while,
It's been
Mhm.
a year, hasn't it? Or
Oh,
more.
one
gosh.
more. We had to get a clear title on it.
Correct.
That's been quite a while ago now that we had to get that clear title,
Yeah,
which we obviously do have now.
And we were gonna invest in a bigger sign.
yes, and Kevin did not do that because
Right.
he got a call on this and was kind of waiting. for them to see if they're gonna offer something. So I asked Sue about amending the agenda, adding it to the agenda, because if you guys choose to approve this, she can work on this when she's at home.
Making sure she does some work.
Giving her something to do, right. So, that's pretty much all it is. It's, you offered it, and it's up to you guys if you wanna accept it.
And if I remember right, that money goes to the water fund, because that's the monies who paid for that account.
I believe that's one of the stipulations that was in that, in there. I guess the only question that I have is, I'm not certain on what the Title I transfer cost might be. Do we need to suggest a stipulation that the buyer would be responsible for any
Title transfer?
title transfer costs?
Yeah, that would involve us counter offering. So we couldn't approve the offer.
Or I just toss it out as a point of discussion, we can approve it as stated.
I think that's a really good point. Let's negotiate it a little bit. I mean, I don't know if closing.
And I'm not sure if we're talking about-
expensive, but-
It should be more than a few $100s. We already spent the money on the attorney to do the title search.
Yeah,
We had to do that, that's quite a bit.
Yep.
But I know it's been up for at least a year, and this is the first real offer.
Right, we've had some discussion, but this is a
Right.
legitimate offer. I'm personally okay with moving forward, and if we only net a little less than that, it's still money for the city that we didn't have and may never see. And we were gonna
Right.
put some money in a bigger sign and hope for that, but we said we didn't wanna go ahead and go through the listing, potential listing cost of more formally listed.
So we approved to spend like $100 or $200 for the sign. So closing costs is probably gonna be about that. Title transfers, maybe less. So we would have spent it anyways.
Exactly.
Maybe we got the same one. I move that we approve the offer received from William Bradley in the amount of $4,000 for the property located at 12510 South M252. Council authorized the mayor to move forward with the sale.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Bob, seconded by Kamal. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. That will be a good stroke of business, because like we say, it's been a topic of discussion for a number of hours in here. That concludes our agenda for this evening. Is there anything or any other business that needs to come before council to take action on or discuss this evening? Hearing none, any further council discussion or observations? Any additional public comment?
Yes, the fact is, this was not a open public bid for the towing issue. It was presented to the sheriff's office, where he was the only one allowed to look at it. The public wasn't given an opportunity to debate over the issue, and I am not dumb. I know what I'm talking about, as presented by Chairman Brodeur.
I think that's, not something that this council will be making a decision on. Matthew, you need to voice that to the...
If you're concerned about what's happening in this county, you should try to come to the meetings yourself. If not, it just keeps going. If we're in such dire straits, how can non-elected officials receive additional salary increases incrementally over the past 5 years? Are you guys getting paid a little bit more every year? Every 2 years? Every 3 years? Every 5 years? We're dire straits because of the $50 million for the retirement fund. That's not our fault. I understand that. People should have made their own choices of how to invest for their retirement. We all have to. But the county's responsible for that $50 million.
Wasn't that all agreed under collective bargaining?
Some time ago.
Correct, so you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater now because now we can't afford it.
Right.
The decision should have been made then.
Many
right?
years ago.
But like I said jokingly, crystal ball's broken because you don't know what's gonna happen down the road. So, those decisions were made, and that's now you're paying the piper, and everywhere. So, I don't know about the raises, if they have a collective bargaining agreement for those raises. We do give a stipend raise every year, cost of living type thing to our employees. So, we vote on it, of course, it's all approved.
And I mean, that's
There
the
was one year
point
when we
of
didn't
democracy,
get a raise.
right? There has to be different sides.
There was
to
one
every
year,
job.
I think since I've been
It's
on council.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is not enough money to go around everywhere, period,
Right.
period. And.
We gotta live within our means. I've been preaching that for years. Sheriff Braidwood brought up the road patrol issue, 10 years ago? And all the fingers were pointing at me. I wasn't the only one at that meeting in opposition to the road patrol getting $2.1 million. They only needed $1 million. The county wanted to pad their own pockets with an additional $1 million.
I don't know those facts, but I know there's lots of things on social media, there's rumors out there that, we're all corrupt too. And I take offense to that. I don't do this for any of this little stipend money that they give us monthly.
Yeah.
So, the people who say those things, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're wrong. And no one should promote that or share that or even support that. They should be defending that that's not true.
And there has to be difference in opinion. We're in the United States.
Right.
It's okay for you to have an opinion and someone else has a different one. There doesn't have to be someone who's right all the time. We're different. I'm not taking sides. I don't know the issue. I'm not familiar with it, but it's okay. That's the point of conversation. It's great. I appreciate it. I appreciate different opportunities, but it's okay.
But if this towing package goes through, that'll be one person,
You should take it up in that meeting with them.
monopoly. He might have a contract with the county, but when we don't have other towing companies that can afford to stay here, that person, that company, whatever, can raise the rates to whatever he wants to haul you off the side of the road.
We've heard your message. Any of the council members here that want to go to the meeting have been invited to attend the meeting where the discussion and the decision will be potentially made, and it's not this body, Matthew, that's going to make that decision. So,
Right. But you're still we the people. Even though you're city of Perry, you are still we the people within this county. So you still have a voice, if you were for it or against it. That's your choice. Just like Dr. Ghazi said, we all have a choice to make.
Exactly, and I'm suggesting that any of the members here that want to, or anyone that watches the video, is welcome to participate and share their voice at that meeting.
Of course.
We're not in a position as a council to sit here and make a determination in terms of how the city of Perry views the issue.
Right.
And we're certainly not gonna say that person is corrupt or that person is not. This is not our stance in any way. It's certainly not mine.
Yes.
I would extend your meeting. I'll just say, if anybody wants to discuss the county's finances or any of these issues, I'll hang around after the meeting for a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Any agenda items from the next meeting?
We'll have the July 3rd possible meeting, we'll talk about that next week,
Yep.
or that meeting. Possible approval of a rezoning if it goes through the planning commission,
Yep.
so that we'll have that. I think those are the only two things that I have upstairs. So there might be one other thing up there, but I didn't bring the book again.
If nothing else comes to mind, at 8:04, meeting adjourned.